What is going on with the condo market? We are officially 6 months into a housing correction. Some of you can call it a crash if you want to, but for the most part, at least where I sell real estate in the city of Toronto, we have seen a correction. And if you're an avid viewer of this channel, you already know pretty much what's going on, and you're probably looking at the numbers very carefully. But I realized that I haven't really given a condo specific update in a little while. So in this video, what we're going to do is look over the 4 main areas of Toronto that are clustered with the most amount of condos and show you the difference between February and July. Now, I don't know if it has to be said, but I will say it anyways. Obviously, sales are going to be down. Obviously, prices are going to be down because of the interest rates. It's very clear. But I'm also on the record saying in my predictions video for 2022 that I thought it was going to be the year of the condo. Now, I don't think it's going to play out exactly how I thought. However, I actually think it still might be the year of the condo. They're just going to be the asset class that went down in value the least. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tom Storey. I run a real estate team here in the city of Toronto. We help buyers and sellers try to make sense of just all of what's going on in the Toronto real estate market. If you enjoy this video and afterwards you want to book an appointment directly with me, you can go into the first link in the description, a buyer call, a seller call, or just a call to chat about the market. If you watch this video and you found it valuable, all I ask is give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you'll be notified each and every time I put out a similar video like this. And one final thing before I get into the numbers for today's video, I want to ask you a favor. If you like longer form content, we launched a podcast called The Tom Storey Show. It's available on YouTube and on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the other platforms. Our goal on YouTube is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. We're already at 500. So if you'd like kind of more long form, kind of informal discussions, we bring on a lot of cool guests. Make sure to check out the Tom Storey Show channel. I will put it in the description. All right, so let's get right into it. How bad is the condo market? Now, a few things to keep in mind. Now, these numbers are just comparing 2 months. It's comparing February to July, which is almost unfair, but I think it still gives us a pretty good understanding of exactly where things have gone. My gut feeling says that if you are selling a condo, you're not going to get a better price for it this year than today. Like every day moving forward, I think they're going to go slightly down, and then they'll stop going down maybe end of September, and then they'll just hover to the end of this year. And if you're a condo buyer, it really depends on the specific area and building you're looking to buy in. I do think there's a little bit more leeway here of prices dropping off until they flatline. All right, let's dig into the numbers and let's have some fun. Okay, we are starting with CO1. Now, what is CO1? CO1 is the biggest cluster of condos in the entire city of Toronto. So I've talked about CO1 on my channel a lot. CO1 is basically like west of Yonge Street to Liberty Village, but really to Dufferin. It's south all the way to the water. It's north to Bloor Street. That's CO1. It's King West. It's Liberty Village. It's waterfront communities. It's Fort York. It's City Place. It's Queen Street West. A whole bunch of communities all in one. So let's take a look at the numbers. Now, this comparable sale price here is showing what it was in February. And then the first number over here, that's 750, that's showing what it was today. Now, I'm going to kind of break down a few things for you. Now, this breaks CO1 down into every different area. Now, if you look over here at volume, the volume number, when there's 1 volume, 3 volume, 6 volume, 1 volume, that just means that there's not a lot of data, not a lot of properties sold. So, Dufferin Grove going up 25%, that's not a real number. There was only 1 sale. And even University going down 28%, there was only 1 number. That doesn't count. Really, the ones that I want to bring your attention to is the final one here, the waterfront communities, because there's a ton of condos available in this area. So in February, the median sale price was $785,000. Now, right now, it's about $732,000. That is just under a 7% decrease. So there's 115 that sold. That's actually a decent amount of data. But in February, there was 251. So the amount of sales is down 54%, but your price is only down about 7%. Now, the one other area that has at least a good amount of sales is Niagara. Now Niagara is Liberty Village, essentially Liberty Village and a lot of the Fort York condos. They're down about $45,000 in price and about 6%, and they had 41 sales compared to 102 in February. Now, again, keep in mind, these are median prices. I chose median prices try to give us a better understanding of exactly what's going on, because I think sometimes using average is a bit unfair. So that is number one. So if you look overall here, CO1's actually comparative to other property types not doing so bad, where it's down between 6 to 8% depending on the area. Bay Street, in terms of amount of data actually happening, saw the biggest drop. We saw a 17% drop. That was based on 48 sales compared to 75 sales that happened in February. All right, now let's jump to CO8. So CO8 is another area downtown. Now CO8 is east of Yonge Street, okay? It's south to the water, it's north to Bloor, and then it's east all the way to the DVP, okay? So that is CO8. CO8 includes St. Lawrence Market, Cabbagetown, Moss Park, Distillery District, waterfront communities. So let's take a look at these numbers. Now, again, keep in mind that we want to look at ones that have actual real data. So Cabbagetown having 3 sales, I'm not going to count that. North St. Jamestown, 4 sales, not going to count that. Let's look at Church Yonge Corridor. They had 67 sales. They were down 4.4% in price. And if you go all the way down here, waterfront communities, because I sell a lot of properties in waterfront communities for CO8, there was only 21 that sold in July in CO8, which is kind of interesting compared to 69 at the same point in February. So CO8, you've seen a drop off of almost 12%. Regent Park, 12%. Moss Park, 18%. But again, not as much data, but you have seen a drop off across the board here. So CO8 has actually decreased in price more than CO1 for the main areas. Next up is going to be Midtown condos. Okay, so Midtown condos here is the cluster of basically like Yonge and Eglinton getting into a little bit of Yonge and Davisville. So it's C10. Now, C10, what we're going to look at here is Mount Pleasant East and Mount Pleasant West. So Mount Pleasant East, let's start there. They saw a big drop off, $180,000 down from February. But again, there was only 6 sales and you're comparing it to 9 sales. What we really want to look at here is Mount Pleasant West to give us a better indication of the data. $712,000 sale price compared to $790 in February. So there's a $77,000 difference, or a 9.8% drop in median price. 38 sales compared to 50 sales, and sales volume was actually only down 24%, where if we go back to other graphs here, down 70%, down 50%. You go back to CO1, the waterfront communities were down 54%. So Midtown, number of sales did not go down as much as other areas. In terms of price, they're right in between kind of what CO1 and CO8 was doing. So the Yonge and Egg area is actually holding up pretty decently in terms of volume and numbers of sales, but obviously that price point has come down almost 10% from the peak of the market. Last up, and I've gotten this suggestion a lot of times, I feel like I haven't included Yonge and Sheppard as much as I should on these videos because there's such a massive cluster of condos there. I want to show you what's going on Yonge and Sheppard. So this is C14. Now, this is basically Newtonbrook East and Willowdale East, okay? So let's start Newtonbrook. They only had 9 sales, so it's showing a decrease of 24% or $230,000, which is significant. Again, take that with a massive grain of salt. There was only 9 sales. Willowdale is where I want to put our attention to because there was 51 sales. Now, you're still down 51% in volume in July compared to February, but then we're seeing a 10% dip. So if we go back here, it's like the main areas in all these clusters of condos, we've seen about a 10% dip here. If we go back to C10, we've seen a 9.8% dip. If we go back to CO8, we've basically seen in the main area a 12% dip. And then for CO1, we've seen about a 7% dip. Now, I guess my question to you is, does any of this data surprise you? Because it actually doesn't look that bad to me. Now, the big number that probably stood out to is that sales volume is down significantly. So are all property types. Like the sales volume of condos has pretty much trended with the entire market, but the decrease in actual value has not come down as much. So why is it that condos are holding value better comparative to other properties? One, they're still probably the most affordable and well-located asset class. You also have different buyers that are going to buy a condo. It's either a first-time home buyer, right? It's an investor, a downsizer potentially that wants an older, bigger condo, or you have the luxury market. So you have 4 different categories where everything else for properties on the freehold side, it's just like your category is people that have over $1 million. I will tell you also, like I've got a lot of condos listed right now, a lot in CO1 and CO8 actually. and showing volume is significantly up the last 2 weeks. So there's a little bit of an uptick in the market right now comparative to what it was, because July was pretty darn quiet. I don't think it's going to be too hard to beat July. July's numbers were significantly low for basically everything across the board. It'll be super interested to see how this plays out moving forward. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. My name's Tom Storey, and remember, home is where your story begins.